Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh, this is
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Think Outside Fishing Podcast presented by Baits.com. Today is another awesome episode. We're kind of having a family affair of bass fishing, if you want to call it. The 3 M's in bass fishing. We're bringing in the Robinson family. And we're going to kind of talk about, their family affair, like I just said, of fishing, professional fishing, and everything, kind of how it came to be. How y'all doing?
Good.
Pretty good.
Awesome. So if you guys kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of talk through your guys' whole family evolution of fishing, and now you guys are all pros. This is very, very cool.
I'll let him get going.
Yeah.
Marty wants to start it off for us.
Yeah, I'm the matriarch of this family, Marty Robinson. I taught these two little punks how to fish, and they've been fishing a while, but they ain't quite caught up with me yet.
I heard that.
And I'm Marshall Robinson. I'm 22. I guess I'm the oldest brother, and I've been fishing the Bass Pro Tour 2 years now. But yeah, just like you said, kind of following in his footsteps. Ever since I started fishing, I just I loved it so much. I knew that's what I wanted to do, and so I went after it.
Totally. And then we got Mitch.
Yep, my name's Mitchell Robinson. I guess I'm the youngest one at 19, and I've been fishing the Tackle Warehouse Invitational, some Toyota Series events, just trying to, make my way up. And, this year I actually did it. I actually ended up qualifying for the Bass Pro Tour for 2026 season. So I'm real excited to get out there and give it my shot.
Super, super cool. It's really cool for me to see with you guys. Like we were talking earlier before we jumped on this, that a lot of my friends' dads, even my dad didn't fish, but seeing, my other buddies' dads that always fish, and their kids never really fished. They didn't like it, but y'all's dad fished, and you guys are all about it. Everyone is kind of following in his footsteps, and Mitchell being on the BPT tour, it's so awesome. So I guess, why is fishing such an important part of your guys' life? Are you guys just ingrained to it since you started, since you grew up? Were you traveling with your dad on the tour? Kind of, how did that come to be?
Yeah, for me, I would say, growing up when we got to travel to his tournaments, but, way before we were fishing, we were still kids and, in school, elementary school, middle school, whatever, but we would get to travel in the summertime. And it was really just one of those things where, we loved doing it. Ever since we started, we just loved it so much. It's all we wanted to do. And, we got to see some cool places. And we fished off the bank most of the time, but we could have fun and find something to catch pretty much everywhere we went. But yeah, really just the fun of it, man. It was a blast being able to do that.
Super cool. So Marty, it's kind of tailored towards you. What was it like for you becoming a pro fisherman? You kind of started this family here of pro fishermen. Now there's 3 of you guys all on the pro circuits on the MLF side. And how did it start for you at your beginning?
Well, it actually mainly my tournament fishing side started, years ago, back in probably high school days, late high school days, started fishing some BFLs. So I guess it all started fishing BFLs, and then I got to fishing a few Bass Opens and qualified for the Elite Series, I think in maybe 2006. And fished the Elite Series for several years, and then obviously when the Bass Pro Tour started, moved over and fished the Bass Pro Tour till now. And but that's kind of how my tournament fishing started. I always say I got into it a little later in life, because I was introduced to bass fishing probably in the 7th grade, and these two right here had a 10-year or so jump on me, they was introduced to it at birth. And I just was introduced to it, took a liking to it, and never looked back.
Yeah, exactly. Marshall, do you kind of want to talk about your evolution of becoming a pro? Obviously, you're younger than me. I'm 23. You're 22. So you didn't do the college route. You just went straight into it, obviously.
Yeah. I kind of planned on going to college. I was going to go fish for a local college. It was actually Erskine. I was going to go to Erskine. And, I'd kind of had it all pathed out. But then I fished a Toyota Series, which was my first, I guess, boater event that I'd fished. And I did pretty good. I didn't make a check, but I was like one of the first guys out. So I felt like I could have if I would have made a few key adjustments. So it gave me a lot of confidence. So really after that tournament, I wanted to chase that, to go after it that way. And I didn't really want to go to college no more. I felt like I could just give it my shot right off the rip. And so that's what I did. And I ended up being fortunate enough to make it pretty quick. I think it took me, I fished the Toyotas, I think 2 years. And then the first year of my invitationals, I qualified through through to the Bass Pro Tour and got the Rookie of the Year. So, it went as good as it could have. And was, super fortunate for it to be like that.
Yeah, for sure. And then Mitchell, you're 19. It's incredible to say that you're joining the Bass Pro Tour next year. Do you want to talk about your evolution of, just fishing right away, pretty much right out of high school?
Yeah, I started out in the high school tour as well. And I actually fished quite a few, not a whole lot, but I fished quite a few Toyota Series events as a co-angler. I think a little bit more than Marshall did. He fished a few, but I think I fished quite a few. And that helps because you have a good shot at drawing, some of the local hammers on those lakes, and they can teach you a lot. And I've drawn actually my buddy now on tour this year, Jack Daniel Williams. I got to fish with him, and I also got to fish pretty cool. I got to fish with Ron Nelson and learned a lot about how he fishes, and I've kind of took some of the knowledge from those guys and tried their styles of fishing out the past 2 years in invitationals. And last year, I didn't necessarily have a bad year. I just had a few lakes that I hadn't really been to that time of year before, and it was just a little struggle for me to figure them out. But this year, what I really surprisingly I liked was the format of the live sonar first day, none of it the second, and then again the third day. I think that I went into this year with a whole nother game plan of planning not to scope, when to scope, when not to scope, and it suited me a lot better than I thought it would, and I got a lot better. I think it just fishing instead of scoping, and I learned a lot about fishing without scope by scoping, if that makes any sense. You learn where the fish live, what kind of banks, what kind of different types of structure and stuff they get on, which can help you a lot. You really need to pay attention to stuff like that for your no scope day. Instead of just maybe blind casting around any bank, you can go back to some of that scope areas and just see like the closest structure and cover they could go to and fish, types of stuff like that. And that's what probably led me to making the PPT this year. And hopefully I can put some of that same stuff together for the tour this year.
I'm sure you will. Doesn't seem like you're going to be stopping anytime soon. So when was your guys' kind of moment where you're like, all right, I for sure want to go all in for pro bass fishing, kind of follow in your dad's footsteps?
I know mine would be the honestly, as far as just knowing that's what I wanted to do, probably ever since I was probably 8 or 10, whenever I started wanting to go out by myself. I think I got my boater's education license at like, what was I probably?
We were
8.
We weren't even close to being able to drive.
Yeah,
we were.
You were probably. He was probably.
When I got mine, I was like 4'11" with hair down to my shoulders. I was like a little kid. But I'd say I'd probably 9 or 10 when I got mine. So even though I could drive a boat, wasn't no one gonna send me out there and let me drive a boat by myself.
I heard that.
I stayed off the lake when I was out there.
Yeah. He gave us the little boat run about 20 miles an hour.
Yeah,
y'all go off in that thing and go figure it out. I like it.
Yeah. We had a little tiller handle, and ever since I started wanting to go out by myself with the tiller handle, kind of, thinking about it in my head, I was like, man, I want to do this. I want to be able to go out on my own one day and be a pro. And probably 10, 11 years old, something like that.
Awesome. Mitchell, how about for you? Kind of same deal there?
To be honest, it was at first, but I kind of got in a little period when I was probably 7 to 10, and I didn't really like it at all. I mean, I don't really know what happened. I kind of got out of it. Probably played too much video games or something on my phone.
I took him to work with me plumbing that day, and that's when he realized he wanted to be a fisherman.
Yeah.
Figured it out right then.
Actually, at one of the Elite Series at Lake Guntersville, I hadn't been fishing a lot at all. I wasn't really enjoying it, but I went down on the dock, and I mean, it was like the best experience ever. We started wrecking them. And I was like, God, I said, I ain't been able to do this in a long time. This is fun. And ever since that, catching them that day, I got back into it, a real good bit. Started wanting to go, and eventually I was, full throttle. I'd always been into it, but I just got in a few years where, I didn't really know if that's what I wanted to do. But once I got back into it, and at high school fishing, that competition, that drive to beat everybody, and try to compete with my friends and buddies and stuff, it really brought it out. And ever since then, I went from liking it to just loving it, being obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's your life now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was your dad your coach in high school, or were you kind of doing your own thing, or kind of how did that go?
Well, our mom was a coach. Our dad was our boat captains. Not really mine, because he only got to captain me 1 year because, Marshall started in, 2 years, I think, because he fished high school. So he was always captaining him. And I don't think until he graduated is when my dad captained me.
Yeah. So Marty, did you kind of pressure them to fish at all, or were you more hands off, like, hey, if they want to do it, they can do it?
No, that's one thing that I always try not to do. I try not to pressure them into it. They just seem to. I guess I was fortunate that they liked the sport of bass fishing, and their mom actually had a lot to do with it, because when we would be at a tournament, I would be out on the water. They didn't have a lot going on, a lot to do. And, she could have took them to the movie theater to see a movie or something like that. But she would always look for some kind of park or a creek or river or something she could take them to, and they could hang out, take the rides, which they wanted to as well. They kind of picked up on it on their own. And I get that question. That's probably one of the top questions that I get, man. Well, what's the key? What did you do that got your kids into loving bass fishing so much? And I really thought about it. And some of the, obviously, I think one of the biggest keys is just taking the leash off, turning them loose, letting them go on their own, letting them have control. You got to let them have control. That's what everybody seems to like, all the women in the world, how it is. And, everybody wants control. But when they had control and they could make the decisions and, do their own thing, that's really, I think, what lit a fire in them, if I had to say.
Yeah, I want to say real quick, I think he's all over it with that, because I remember some of the most fun I had bass fishing was going out with the little tiller handle 25 I was talking about, and going out on the lake by myself in the evening after school and figuring something out. I remember that being like so rewarding.
And like y'all were doing it. So even when you guys were in high school fishing, tournaments, your dad was a pro at that time, right? He obviously knows where to go. He knows where to catch them, but he was letting you guys make the decisions.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Did you guys feel any pressure, I guess, growing up, your dad being a pro, being on the Elite Series, being on the MLF tour, when you guys were growing up, of, hey, I got to aspire to be like that? Or was it just, hey, I love fishing, this is what I'm going to do, and I got to figure out how to do it?
No, I think it was just that we loved it. I never felt forced. I felt like I could do whatever they wanted me to do whatever I liked most, but it just kind of ended up that way. I mean, seeing, going with him to the lake enough, you're probably not gonna hate it if you go fishing with your dad about every Saturday, Yeah. And if you start to, get better at it and get good at it, you're really not gonna hate it, because nothing's more fun than reeling a few in. So I think just fishing, even back when I wasn't, crazy about it, but just I started going so much and just started enjoying it more and more, because I learned how to catch more and more, and it just became super fun to me.
Yeah. What is one thing that you guys have kind of learned that's been passed through your dad, and then to Marshall, and then to, what has been passed through to you guys that you guys have learned all together by fishing so much as a family?
It's a bunch of different things, not necessarily one in particular, but just all in all, you learn a lot more when you have three guys who all equally do it, all the time. They love it. When you get to discuss things together and figure stuff out by talking amongst each other, you putting three heads together at that point. I think it's a huge advantage, and being able to do that's definitely contributed to success for all three of us, I would say.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when you've been to the lake on a Saturday before and you've not really figured them out, you didn't catch much, didn't get many bites, and you come home scratching your head, wondering what you did wrong. Well, the good thing about it is a lot of times, we'll go to the same lake. We'll take all three boats, go to the same lake, and then when we come home, if one or two of us didn't catch them, and then most of the time there's going to be one of us that figured something out, and then you can really get to talking and comparing notes and be like, oh, okay, well that's what I missed, and you learn a lot of times it's just a little piece of the pie that you missed, but it made a big difference,
Yeah, for sure. So kind of going off of that, obviously I've seen in your guys' Instagrams, you guys have fished some tournaments all together. I think it was some Toyotas. Maybe one was on Champlain when Mitchell did super well, I believe. I think you might have top 10'd or got paid, and then you guys were just right behind him. Talk about those tournaments. Marty, what did it mean to you, everyone being at the tournament, your whole family being there, competing against each other? Kind of talk through that.
Yeah, to me and probably to them as well, I'd say that's some of our favorite tournaments. I enjoy those more than I do any other tournaments where you get to talk about the tournament, talk about your practice, go into it, fish it, and everybody tries to catch them, and we're competitive. We all try to do good. We try to beat the other one, and we never wish any bad luck. We don't hope anybody does bad, but our best case scenario, we'd like to finish 1, 2, 3 with me 1 and these other 2, 2 and 3. But
of course,
yeah, and yeah, it's a great time, man, because there's nothing funner in it. It's like fishing with having 2 roommates that you can trust and believe 100%. That don't happen a lot.
Exactly.
But it's a good time for sure.
Mitchell, kind of talk through that tournament. Were you guys sharing notes? How did you end up doing so well on that tournament? Was it, because your dad helped you out there? Maybe Marshall helped you out? Were you guys all helping each other out?
Man, I just went to their grads and stole all their waypoints. That's what I call them. No, it was more of a, not even like them helping me on that lake. It's just like being able to go out with them on other smallmouth lakes. I learned every good bait between them, friends, and a bunch of people, and just figuring out on my own as well. You just learn the certain baits they eat and the certain types of stuff they get on. So you can smallmouth lakes are all versatile. Like I think you can it's the best place to take a pattern or a style of fishing and repeating it on every lake with smallmouth in it. I don't know why it's like that. It's just smallmouth stay true to the same patterns way more than largemouth do. And that helped me, because I can take patterns that I figure out on Champlain and take them to St. Lawrence and then take them to, like St. Clair and like all the places that I've seen similar patterns and baits work out. So mainly just spending time up there, especially at Champlain, spending a lot of time. I like it probably the best because, it's just a lake with contour and big flat stuff like that. I feel like, the St. Clair, there's no contour. You basically just got to aimlessly look around and find
right? Yeah.
And in St. Lawrence, it's a river with current. You got to factor current in. And there's like thousands and pretty much millions of humps and islands and stuff like that. So I feel like, Champlain is my favorite one just because how it fishes.
Yeah.
So that week, I had a really good deal going, and it was just I pieced it together in practice, caught a few big ones, and I knew I was going to catch a lot of fish. So I told them about it. Obviously I didn't tell them the exact areas, but I kind of told them what the bait was and the pattern, and we all had a solid finish. I ended up coming out on top, but I think I finished 15th
Yeah.
15th. He finished in the 20s or 30s, and I think my dad finished in the 30s or 40s or something like that. So I think we all did good that week.
Is there a little bit of competition going into every tournament? Marty, if your sons are beating you, are you getting a little frustrated, or are you okay with it? Are you happy that they're beating you?
Hey, if they can beat me, more power to them, because, I give everything I got, even though I'm a little bit older, probably is not as much as they give it. But, I try as hard as I can. And when they beat me, it doesn't bother me at all, really. It's never really bothered me a whole lot by who beat me. It's the part that bothered me over the years was why didn't I catch them better than I did, when I didn't catch them. But so it's never really a contest with on how they do. It's all about, I need to catch them better myself. And I hope, that's the one thing about it, when your kids, when your sons are fishing the tour, sons, daughters, whatever, are fishing the tour, you have a bad day, you don't catch them. The good side of that is you feel like you got 3 shots at the lottery. If you didn't catch them and you like, well, maybe they caught them, and if you come in and they both caught them and they're up toward the top, it feels almost as good as you catching them being up at the top. And
totally, that's super cool.
So that's it. But I'll tell you now, the reason this can come out on top at Lake Hartwell, because he goes there a lot more than us. We're at home working, and he's at Hartwell fishing. He knows that he keeps up with it a lot more. It's kind of like them locals, they hang around the house and take everybody's money. And then when you get out on the road and you come back home, you can't beat them.
I heard that.
Look, on day one of the invitational, so because that was another one we was all rooming together. And, he don't talk a lot of junk. He don't. I give it to him. He don't. But that week he was talking. He was like, man, I got this one. He said, this is me right here. And, dude, his face when I come in day one and he only had me by like 2 or 3 ounces, like that was pretty good. I was like, yeah, I said, I told you I was going to be right there on them hills. But dude, that week was fun. That was the most fun I've had in a long time in the tournament.
Was that y'all's? That was my next question. Was that y'all's most memorable tournament together? Was the Lake Hartwell tournament?
Yeah, gotta be
going into the last day, 2 and 3, and he had a good tournament too. He caught him. What you taught using
33rd.
I got a
right
check.
Out of the 30th.
I got a check, but man, couldn't got no worse. Boy Duckett knocked me out of the cut, dude. How about that? Come on,
boy, got him. And but going into the final day, 2nd and 3rd, that was cool. We got a lot of good coverage out of that, and it made you feel like you're doing the job, on your home lake like that.
Exactly. So the Hartwell is your guys' home lake, obviously.
Kind
yeah,
of,
pretty
much. Kiwi would take
Kiwi's only like 10 minutes closer.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
So it's above Hartwell. Yeah, it's pretty much a clone of Hartwell, just a little bit deeper and not as much largemouth. Like the largemouth on Kiwi for some reason all live shallow. They don't go out deep or get out deep off the bank like Hartwell largemouth do as much. But it's pretty similar.
Yeah, kind of talk through that week some more. Like what was going through your guys' heads? Kind of some junk talking going on, and what was your guys' deal the whole week there at Hartwell?
I'll let you go, buddy.
Oh man, that was just a good tournament. We've been looking. All of us have been looking forward to it, especially me. It was on my circuit, so I knew that was the one I had to get a little head start on the rest of the field and the points.
Yeah.
And, thankfully, I did. But I went out day one to practice, and I was going to check my deal, so I ran around in the morning fishing a bunch of deeper places. And I'm like, I'll give it till about 10 o'clock, and I'll go check my stuff and see how it's going. Well, I pulled up to my stuff at about 10 o'clock, and from 10 to 12, I had put 22 pounds in the boat on a bunch of places, catching one and leave. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I said, I think this tournament's going to be right. So I left all that, and I basically just put around on random stuff rest of practice. And I just kept calling them, telling them I thought I was going to win it, and just hoping. I kept telling them, I said, man, if I survive that no scope day, I told them, I said, y'all are done for us. And y'all ain't got no chance. That's what they kept saying. So I
love it.
Pieced together how to catch them on day 2. And after that, I really thought I was going to catch it at least like 2021 that last day. But we had some 30 to 45 mile an hour winds the night before. And I got to my 4 or 5 best areas that I caught like 5, including practice, like 5 to 8 fish over 4. And every one of them was blown out, particles in the water. There was like catfish, carp all over them. I don't know what went on, but there was like pollen floating. It was just a big, nasty mess, and there wasn't no fish left. So I scrambled, and I actually got freaked out there for a while because I only had 12 or 13 pounds in the box. But I pulled up on a place that, I always have caught big largemouth in that area. And I start to roll around, and I catch 2, I think, right at 3-pounders and pull up to almost 14. And I told my camera guy, I said, we're about to get right. And they moved my camera guy right then. They sent him to someone. And as soon as he got on the boat, he took off, and I got so mad. I started freaking slamming stuff. I'm like, this is my home lake, and I ain't even good enough to keep my camera. And I rolled around to the next little bay, and I flicked my bait up at one I seen on the scope, and I set the hook, and I think it was 5.5, and it called me all the way up to 17 or almost 18, whatever I had that last day, and I had to run in right after that. But I wish it could have got caught on film, but it was a crazy catch.
No, that's super, super cool. And Marshall, you kind of want to talk through the tournament for yourself as well?
Yeah. So the funny thing about that week, or the cool thing was, we both know mostly the same stuff, on the lake. He knows a little bit more, but it's the same pattern, same deal. And but we ended up fishing kind of the opposite end of the spectrum for the first 2 days. And he was a lot shallower than I was. I was fishing really deep the first day, and we both cracked right at 20 pounds. He had like 19-15 or 20 even. I had like 19-12.
Surprisingly, I was fishing.
Yeah.
It don't even make any sense. I was fishing dirt shallow for spots, and he was fishing incredibly deep for largemouth. So it was kind of weird.
Wow.
It was an interesting deal, but we had those two things going, and then day 2 on the no scope day, it definitely played into our favor.
That was decently similar that day.
Yeah, the local knowledge, we both kind of knew the basic gist of things and what to do, and we both weighed 16 something. So it was like we both had high 19 and high, like low to mid 16 on day 2. So it was like pretty identical, but we were doing a lot of the different stuff. And the last day, like he said, the pollen, honestly, I've never seen
90% of our stuff.
Yeah, I've never seen it like that, but it messed up most of the places we were fishing, that it made them where you couldn't see good on scope. And I kind of had to fall back on some history and some stuff I knew to do. And I caught me a 14.5 pound bag, kind of like he said. The only difference between me and him was he knew a little bit more than me, and he knew a good place to go and put himself in a big fish area.
I had a few tucked out of the wind places, but I really do
some sneaky stuff.
I really do think we could have smashed the 20 mark that last day if it would have stayed how it was day 1. It was they were up, and it was I've seen a lot of big, more than I usually see. It was crazy.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, y'all seen the weights day 1. I think we were in 5th and 6th with 20 pounds. Yeah,
and I think the last day after weigh-in was over, a dude fishing a local tournament actually weighed in a 11-pounder on the official MLF scales to verify it.
On Hartwell?
Yeah, it was 11 pounds.
You can go to his page. His name, I think, is Peyton Dunn, and he caught an 11.25 in a local derby that same day. And Chad Mrazek broke the state record spot that day.
Oh my! How big was the spot?
And Kyle Cortiana caught like a 9 something that week too.
In practice. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God! How big was that spot? Because I was at Hartwell when Tucker broke it in college. It was like almost 6-pounder. I don't. How big was the one he caught?
Chad was
6'5" or 6'6".
6'5", yeah.
Gosh, that's crazy. So Mitchell, why do you know more than, like, you're the youngest one? You should know the least about the lake. Why are you fishing so much more than Marshall and Marty?
Oh, I don't know. I just go a lot because I know about all the local fishermen down there, and that they'll text me and they'll be like, "Man, come fish this derby," or "Man, let's go fish for a few hours." So I just spend more time, and I know all the people that fish there, so we all fish together, and we share a little bit of info, So when it's practice time or when I want to go to the lake, I'll hop in with a boat with my buddies sometime, and they know the lake real good. And
see, let me tell you the key to this. The key is
I'm waiting for the key here.
He's not married. See, he's married, and I'm married. So
they're weed eating while I'm catching them.
Yeah,
exactly. Y'all got women duties to hold up too.
He ain't got none of them honeydews yet.
Exactly. Oh, that's
Actually, I'll just take my girlfriend. She wants to go with me on the weekdays when I go down there. I'll take her with me, and her both will catch them.
Yeah,
As long as
I
she's
love
your
it.
girlfriend, she gonna want to go. You better keep with your girlfriend.
So, kind of continuing on with this team series that you guys are doing. Obviously MLF does a team series. Y'all are fishing together, right, Marshall and Marty?
We're both fishing, but we're fishing against each other.
Oh, really?
He paired up with some new hot shot, Drew Gill or somebody. I can't think of his
Oh,
name.
yeah, who's Drew?
But,
That goober.
he paired up with that new hot shot, just because they beat us in the last round.
We had to run it back again. You can't go win a team series and then not fish again, together.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we had to group back up. So me and Drew were gonna fish it, but we're in the same one. I think they did it on purpose. MLF did it on purpose, but they put us in the same one.
Drew picked you.
Yeah, Drew picked me. So I didn't pick. I got picked.
Gotcha. So you didn't have the option to. Okay.
Right.
Same with him.
I think in the first one it worked down to me as a captain, but like I said, I'd already been picked because Drew was way up the standards, and then Nick LeBrun picked him. So we'll be fishing against each other with our partners.
So is that series? I guess it's four teams fishing against each other. The top two advance. Is that kind of how it is? Okay.
Four teams fish against each other 3 days in a row. So 4, 4, and 4. They take 2, 2, and 2, and then split those 6 up into 3 and 3, and then take the final 2 and 2, which makes 4. You know what I mean? It's like a bracket. It sounds confusing, but you just start out with it is. You start out with 3 days of 4 guys, and then work your way down. So,
wow. Is there a little bit of family feud going on there, kind of between you and your dad for this?
Definitely some serious competition, but the good thing is it's kind of the team series. One of the most fun things about them is it's not a risky tournament. So you're not worried about losing your entry fee. You're not worried about qualifying for something. So in my opinion, that makes it that much more fun. So, and that makes you want to talk junk even more because who cares? Just go out there and fish. And the last one, we ended up having a super cool finish on that first qualifying day. And me and him were firing shots back at each other. So maybe we can do that again.
Good. I like it. Yeah. Where is this next one at? Where do y'all head to?
You don't know, do you?
Yeah. No, I think didn't they release the first one? Are we allowed to say that? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get in trouble. But
totally
fine. They tell us the town, so we know the town, but we don't
even know the lake.
Yeah, we don't know the lakes or nothing.
Yeah, y'all just have to show up and fish, right?
Right.
Yeah, super.
Now they're fishing one right now that you can watch live. It's at Port Huron.
Port Huron, yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool deal. Mitchell, what do you have next for you? What's your next tournament?
I'm heading out this Saturday to the that Invitationals Championship at Mississippi River.
Gotcha.
Thanks. Maybe I'll get to put down a few of my spinning rods, have some fun.
Yeah, go frogging or something.
Flip, frog, shoot, Carolina rig, maybe catch smallmouth. I don't know, something. I know it ain't gonna be a minnow beat down. At least it ain't gonna be that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure someone will end up catching one on a minnow.
They
never fails.
A minnow now in a pothole on the side of the road. I mean, that's how it is.
It's crazy. Do y'all do any kind of traditions before your tournament? If y'all are all fishing one together, do you guys have dinner the night before? Do you guys do anything like that?
We'll have dinner every night of the tournament, and I'd say that's the the fishing part. That's fun, but the going to eat each night and talking about the fishing is just as fun, equally. So we go out, man. We'll go out and eat every night and just goof off with our buddies, and all 3 of us. Obviously, that's what we always do.
I like it. So, kind of last question here to wrap it up. I really appreciate you guys for your time today. If there's one place in the country you guys could all go fish together for a week, either competing against each other or just go fun fishing, where would it be?
As far as competing,
I ain't even got a clue, to be honest.
Let's see. I'll go first because it's one of my favorite places to go anyway, especially this time of year. And then I'd have to put St. Lawrence River up there on top.
Say that. That's a good one.
I don't know.
But if I'm be honest,
It'd be just as fun doing somewhere around here.
Yeah.
We all got the knowledge.
I think when they bring, and it'd probably be a common answer, but I think when you bring a tournament to your hometown and you're familiar with where you're going, like that's hard to beat.
Yeah.
I think it's actually, to me, it's going to be this year when we all fish the Invitational at Santee, because none of us have an advantage. We've all been down there really he's been down there, Daddy's been down there a few, obviously when he was younger, he went down there a little bit, but he never just went there. You can't go to so much because it's like 2 hours and 50 minutes or 3 hours from our house. So we all know it. We know how it fishes, and it's got huge ones, but none of us have like an edge. So I think this year everybody needs to tune into that one because we're all going to be fishing it, and that's going to be a little kind of a local shoot now.
Exactly. We should straight up competition between y'all. That'll be super cool to watch. Hopefully it's 1, 2, and 3, and Marty's at the front of that whole deal, right?
Yeah.
It don't matter to me if he wins.
Yeah,
I don't care.
if I'm in the top 3 and he outfishes me, it is what it is, man.
I love it. Well, I really appreciate you guys for your time today. This was super, super cool. And, we'll drop all your guys' social links below. And thanks for hopping on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see y'all. Bye.
See ya.
Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh, this is